Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's right, we're talking about Twisters. Twisters, a 2024 American disaster film directed by Lee Isaac Chung. It is a standalone sequel to the 1996 film Twister. It follows a retired tornado chaser and meteorologist that is persuaded by an old friend to return to Oklahoma to work with a new team and new technologies. Now, I just want to apologize to the 10 people that watch my videos because I haven't been posting in a while, but I will be hoping to post at least a video a week again. Just to clarify, a standalone sequel is a sequel to a movie, so it follows the plot of a movie, but you don't need to have watched the first movie to watch this one. That's what makes it a standalone. But otherwise, let's just get right into the 10 essential aspects of a movie. First is plot. Does the movie follow a comprehensive story arc and is plausible within the world that has been created? Yeah, the movie does a good job. I mean, there's some parts that you kind of have to use your imagination and understand that these things don't really happen in real life, but you don't really care. I mean, the plot is dragged on a little bit at times because they try to implement these emotional moments that, quite honestly, I don't care, alright? This is a movie about tornadoes. I want to see tornadoes, alright? I want to see cows flying across the screen, destroying buildings. That's what I want to see. For the most part, that's what the plot does. So honestly, the somewhat secondary plot of the people than the tornadoes, it's fine. It does a good job. It's not that bad. I mean, there's not that many things you can do with a movie about tornadoes. Second is attraction. Does the movie have an interesting premise with a high entertainment value? I think yes. If you're watching this movie, it's called Twisters. It's probably because you like tornadoes. And that's what this movie is about. It's about tornadoes. I think you see like 10 of them. You see them forming. You see different size ones, different style ones. I liked it. I thought they did a really good job with the CGI. It looks great. That's what I wanted to see when I watched this movie was tornadoes, the secondary plot of the people and what's going on. I understand they put that in there. Maybe you didn't want to just watch tornadoes, instead of just going on YouTube and watching tornado disaster videos, you wanted to watch a story, then fine. Personally, I didn't. I just wanted to watch tornadoes, and that's what I got. Third is theme. What message or truth is the movie trying to convey? This one, I don't know really how to answer this one. I don't know what theme they were trying to deal with. I know there was a concept of loss and how to deal with loss and loved ones, but I mean, it wasn't really that big. It somewhat was. I don't know if there really was a theme. I think it was just a movie that was doing a little bit of a romantic movie, but also having tornadoes. Fourth is dialogue. Is there a real feel to the conversations? Now, the dialogue to this movie is actually not bad. It's pretty good. It's pretty fluid. I don't feel like people said things that were weird. The conversations they had made sense. But I will say, the band of YouTube streamers that Glenn Powell and his buddies are, their group of tornado wranglers, as they call themselves.
It's Tyler Owens. Calls himself the Tornado Wrangler. If you feel it, Jason!
They were so annoying in the beginning. I know they were just trying to establish them as a group and give them an identity, but it seemed like every 2 seconds they were yee-hawing, and it was so annoying. Like, anytime any of them were on the screen in the first half of the movie, it was just all the time, and it really got old. But otherwise, the dialogue in this movie is pretty good. Fifth is acting. Are the characters convincing? This movie, it doesn't really have the depth needed to showcase some really good acting. I would say the main actress, Daisy Edgar Jones, she's the only one that had any scenes that really required some emotional acting, and she did a great job. It was good. I thought it was fairly convincing when she was really upset. It didn't take me out at all in a movie that very easily didn't need really good acting. It was just a movie that was dominated by tornadoes, but the people in it did a good job when they needed to. 6 is cinematography. Is there a creative use of lighting, setting, and wardrobe to convey emotion? Now, this movie, it doesn't really have the opportunity to create some crazy cinematic scenes other than the tornadoes themselves, and I thought it had a lot of those for the tornadoes. I thought the tornadoes were cool. I thought each one did feel unique. They had different shots. There is a shot in the first Twister where they're in a drive-in movie theater, and there's a tornado coming, but you don't see it until lightning strikes, and then you kind of get to see the outline of how big and scary this tornado is. Using the lighting to create some sort of fear. I thought the same thing was done. There's a similar scene in this movie. There's a couple scenes that I feel gets your heart rate up. You get nervous. They did a good job making you feel scared of this tornado, making you feel like this is a very powerful, scary thing, especially to people that, like me, who have never seen a tornado, never really been around a tornado. So we don't really know how scary it is, and I feel this movie did a good job with its cinematography showing you how scary it can really be. 7th is editing. This is all about the pace of the movie. Now, the movie is about 2 hours and 2 minutes long. Personally, way too long. Shouldn't be that long. I think this movie should really be like an hour and 40 minutes. I do understand they were trying to weave in more of the story. I felt if you were going to weave in the story, you should have tied it in more to the first one, and then I would have given more grace to length of time because you're trying to expand on the story. But personally, this movie was just more about the tornadoes. It shouldn't have gone so deep into the emotional side. It would have been better off having some emotion and just having a lot of that tornado action and making that 3/4 of the movie. I mean, that's what it's about. You're not watching a Twister movie to see some amazing romantic relationship. You want to see freaking tornadoes. So I do feel it was a little long, but I understand what they were trying to do. 8th is soundtrack. Now, honestly, I do not remember the soundtrack. That's kind of what happens with these movies that are more entertaining. This category is more for movies that are cinematic and the music really helps or it's really unique. This kind of movie, it just doesn't really matter. 9th is directing. Now, the director, Lee Isaac Chung, this is his 5th movie, his first movie. I'm going to butcher this, but it was Muryanggabo. I don't know, dude, but that's his first movie. Next was Lucky Life, then Abigail Harm, 4th was Minari, and then finally Twisters. I haven't seen any of his other films. I would assume he's probably a fairly serious director based on his previous films, so I do feel this film is a little bit out of his touch, not what he's used to doing. It seems like the other films are more serious, and I thought he did a good job. I thought he tried to bring some tones of seriousness into this movie, but really what he needed to do well on was the tornadoes, and I thought he did a really good job on that, and I thought he presented a real emotional side to the tornadoes of fear. He captured that well. 10th is time. Does it stand the test of time? It probably will not. I mean, it will stand somewhat. It's not a bad movie, but it's probably exactly what you expect. This movie is really just a middle road movie for me. It's forgettable, but if it came on and I was bored, maybe I would watch it again. Now for the rating section. For Rotten Tomatoes critics, they gave it a 77%. The audience gave it a 92%. And IMDb gives it a 71%. I understand why the audience gave it a 92, because this movie does do what it set out to do, which is just show some cool twisters. But in the scheme of every movie ever made, 92 is just way too high. I even think the 70s are a little high. I mean, 71, I'd probably agree with that one the most. I probably agree with the critics. It's just it's an okay movie. It's not bad. It's not good. It just is what it is. Now for the rankings for 2024 on the entertainment side, it's going to be 3rd, just below Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and above Civil War. It's above Civil War for the fact that Civil War is just a little too intense. It's a little too much of an emotional movie, not as easy to digest. I feel that affects it on the entertainment side, how frequently I'm going to watch this movie. I would watch this movie a couple more times before I would watch Civil War again. It's just easier to watch. Now, it's below Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. They're kind of the same on entertainment side. I just give Kingdom a little bit more of a bump because the world is interesting. They both have good CGI, but the world of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has a little more background, has a little more depth, and that to me is more interesting and pulls me to want to watch that movie again more than this movie where it's just a disaster movie about tornadoes. Now, cinematically, it's going to be fourth, just below Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes again, and above Ungentlemanly Warfare. Ungentlemanly Warfare is just, it's a little bit of a mess, little unentertaining, I feel, cinematically. I feel Twisters does a good job capturing what it needs to capture. The tornadoes are good. It does have some feeling in it. Of course, it's not quite as good as Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, just because of that, again, that world building. I feel like it doesn't represent film as well just because it's a little bit more simple of an idea. Now, for the decade of the 2020s, it's going to be the exact same list. Unfortunately, I have not watched a movie outside of 2024 yet. And for all time, on the entertainment side, it's going to be seventh, just below Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and above Civil War, for the exact same reasons as the 2024. On the cinematic side, it's going to be eighth, just below Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and above Ungentlemanly Warfare again. Unfortunately, I haven't watched a ton of movies outside of 2024, so I have a lot of those movies in there. Need to get some more variety in there, get some different rankings, but that's just the way it falls right now. Otherwise, I'm going to try and keep up with one movie theater movie a week and maybe squeeze in another movie in there. But that's all I've got for Twisters. Please let me know what you thought about it and what movie you want me to review next. Otherwise, I'm Mr. Majoritarian. Stay classy, San Diego.